I'm glad to welcome you to the course on artificial intelligence in employee training. Today we have our first introductory session on artificial intelligence and its specific application in employee training. Why should you take a course on artificial intelligence in employee training? The fact is, today artificial intelligence is the most powerful partner in content creation, so that's basically what it's praised for. Yes, it can answer questions and it's being integrated into many areas, but in content creation, it's an undeniable advantage. Training employees with artificial intelligence allows you to achieve even more. Well, those who know how to use artificial intelligence in their work are already earning more and working more efficiently. This is the course website, and let's start with a brief introduction if we haven't met some of you yet. My name is Mike Pritula. I worked at Alpha Bank, on the STB TV channel, at Wargaming, and built HR departments at Preply and Ideal. I consulted on the development of PeopleForce, founded an academy, and developed the HR product PPHR. Training, our course topic, was my first position at Alpha Bank. I started as a trainer and recruiter, hiring loan officers and training them to issue loans. That was back in 2006. For almost 20 years since then, I haven't stopped being involved in training. At first, I conducted offline trainings. After I was a trainer at Alpha Bank, I then conducted trainings for recruiters for a while. Then I led my first online career coaching training, then trainings for HR professionals. Now I have 135 hours of developed courses that I teach. The topic of training is close to my heart, I enjoy it, and I have extensive expertise in it. And when it comes to artificial intelligence, my first encounter was in the year 2000 when, to be honest, I don't remember who released some kind of program. You could download it and communicate with it. I remember talking to it a lot. It was very captivating and very interesting. Of course, for a long time there wasn't any good artificial intelligence, but when ChatGPT appeared, everything changed. When I worked with us for 15 years, I won various nominations, received many diplomas, statuettes, awards, and so on. And I have 3 international certifications. The Academy has also been around for quite a while and has its own awards. For example, we have a YouTube Silver Play button, and we've been teaching artificial intelligence since 2023. We started about 2 years ago with the emergence of ChatGPT. We already have 8 courses on artificial intelligence in our curriculum. By the way, I also wrote and published a book about artificial intelligence about a year ago. So that's a bit about the Academy. In my work, I rely on best practices, and I will be grateful to those watching on YouTube. I would appreciate it if you could share what you do for work. I will also remind you about the homework. In our courses, completing homework assignments allows you to earn a diploma. We issue the diploma on the online platform Accredible. What does the program for this course look like? Today we are getting acquainted with general concepts, though we will also discuss tools so that it is not just about nothing. We will look at specific tools. I will tell you about their capabilities so you can get an idea. In the second session, we will learn how to create courses using artificial intelligence, and you will see that there are already many tools for course creation. In the third session, we will cover how to create content and what kind of content to create. This will also be very interesting. In the fourth session, we will learn how to prepare individual employee development plans, and in the fifth, how to evaluate the effectiveness of training, and in the sixth, the future of artificial intelligence in corporate training. So that's the plan for our course. More precisely, our course. And today we will talk about the introduction and forming an understanding of what artificial intelligence is capable of. So, what can artificial intelligence do in training? This question started to interest many people immediately after the appearance of ChatGPT and similar models. I really liked it. There was a system called ZV. You see, I am saying was, even though it was quite recent. A lot has already changed in the world of artificial intelligence as well. There was this ZV system, I really liked it, and I praised them a lot. Then it was suddenly bought by a company called Deal, a payroll software company, and they pretty much buried ZV within their company. They were releasing videos, publishing a lot of content, writing extensively about artificial intelligence in HR, including in training. It was really great. Now I'm a bit sorry that such a company disappeared, that it was absorbed, and all of that stopped. They themselves don't write much about artificial intelligence now, it's more like a large corporate company. Nevertheless, what experts have been discussing, what they are discussing about artificial intelligence, and what has already been demonstrated using ZV and other platforms. Today we'll look at platforms that fortunately still exist. Let's say, having had the opportunity to observe for 2 years now how HR software of all kinds is developing, not just in training. With artificial intelligence, I'm noticing a huge growth in the application of AI in HR software. Back in 2023, I was in a state of anticipation. I was saying that soon we'd see almost all HR software developers start integrating artificial intelligence. Just wait, it'll start happening soon. That's what I was saying in 2023. In 2024, I became disappointed. Around mid-2024, a year had passed, and many software developers hadn't done anything. I was really confused. How could this be? There's so much cool stuff that could be done, and some started actively integrating AI. They were moving the fastest. I was disappointed. Now, as 2024 was ending and 2025 was beginning, I noticed that finally they started to gradually write about artificial intelligence, began to integrate it somehow, and functionality started to appear. So it took time for developers to realize this, and there will be more to come. So what specifically can artificial intelligence do in learning? One of the main features that experts talk about is adaptive learning. It has long been known that different people have different learning needs. Learning approaches are different. Preferences and current knowledge levels also vary, and often without artificial intelligence, a one-size-fits-all program is developed. Artificial intelligence can adapt a single program to specific individuals, do it very quickly, on the fly, and take into account the person as much as possible. Furthermore, artificial intelligence can analyze what a person does, how they work, and provide intelligent recommendations on what's worth studying, what to focus on in terms of development. This is very interesting. This is essentially integration with performance management. By the way, I also talk about this in the course on artificial intelligence in performance management. So this is really cool. It's essentially a micro-development plan based on demonstrated performance and competencies. Next, natural language processing for queries. Artificial intelligence can answer people's questions. People can formulate questions in any form that's convenient for them. Artificial intelligence can understand and teach them. This is similar to what happens now when you chat with GPT or its analogs. However, ChatGPT isn't tailored to any specific topic, and it's not designed for the task of teaching. It just answers you like a reference book, whereas using artificial intelligence in learning allows you to turn dialogue into education. So platforms that integrate artificial intelligence, you could say reconfigure something like ChatGPT so that it responds in a way that develops you. And often this is also associated with providing the artificial intelligence with your own knowledge base and information. For example, if you need to train your employees on your products, you're a company that manufactures something, you have products, and you need to train your employees about these products. This is a common case for training people, and of course ChatGPT can't do this for you on its own, as it doesn't know your products. But if you create a database of information about your products, and integrate artificial intelligence into it, then artificial intelligence will become a system for training your employees about your products. And employees will be able to communicate with artificial intelligence in simple language, and for example say, "I don't understand what a derivative is. Explain it to me as if I were a school child." For instance, I work in a bank, I'm learning how to issue loans or provide banking services, and I need to learn about derivatives, but I don't understand what they are. And so, the artificial intelligence can discuss derivatives with me, drawing on information about our bank's services from the knowledge base on one hand. On the other hand, it can interpret all this, explain it, and so on. Learning analytics. We'll have a separate session on learning assessment. Artificial intelligence can effectively analyze how learning is progressing. Generally speaking, artificial intelligence is good at analytics. It can analyze large volumes of information, both numerical and textual data, interpret it, and so on. So this application is also beneficial. Converting text into audio materials and video materials. Here too, artificial intelligence can be of great help to you. There are many solutions available now. We'll cover this in one of our sessions, where we'll develop solutions that can convert text to speech, can turn text into video with speech, can do lip synchronization, lip syncing, and many other things. So essentially, if you have textual materials in some form, a knowledge base, you don't even need to hire a trainer to teach your employees. You can turn this into training content using technology. A virtual avatar reads it for you. There are even voice cloning technologies now, meaning you can clone your own voice or the voice of any employee and generate text in that person's voice so it will sound as if the person is speaking. You can add video to this. In this way, what else? Content creation. We have a whole separate session on this. Of course, artificial intelligence creates content, although we'll be looking into that as well. There are solutions that claim they can create a course on demand, but these solutions create a very simplified course. I'd call it a micro course. So at this point, we can't say that artificial intelligence can develop a substantial good training from scratch. For example, like this one or some other. But if you know how to use artificial intelligence, you can generally develop very serious trainings. For example, in the academy, I'm experimenting and looking at how I can use artificial intelligence. I take a topic that's far from my expertise, and using my experience in instructional design in designing training courses, with the help of artificial intelligence and the ability to find the necessary information, I can essentially create a training on any topic, even one I'm not familiar with. But I'm creating this with artificial intelligence. ChatGPT won't do this for me on its own, but I know how to interact with ChatGPT and what information I need to get from where to create a good training, which will be on par with professional training. So content creation with artificial intelligence is really becoming much simpler, and the trainings are created in an interesting way. This means you can develop trainings that are as good as those on time management. In general, perfect for scales, professional skills, Excel, PowerPoint, and various professional topics. You just need to know how to communicate with it and what additional information to add or find. Artificial intelligence is capable of gamifying learning, and that's what really makes learning more interesting and effective. It can take dry information. Sometimes learning can be boring. For example, you need to train employees in safety procedures. We need to familiarize our gaming employees with the privacy policy, and people aren't interested in reading it. So the marketing department gamified this process to make people want to learn it. But gamification takes time and requires specific expertise. In other words, if you need to take some boring information and gamify it to make it interesting and fun for people to learn, it will take a lot of time. You'll need to read books on gamification, study case studies, and develop your own strategies. But artificial intelligence can do this for you. It can gamify any topic for you and make learning more engaging. You. I have experience in creating tests. I've had to create tests to assess knowledge at various times. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's rather monotonous work. When you know your material thoroughly, it's not hard to develop a test. You understand which questions to choose and which answers are correct. You have to come up with some incorrect answers that aren't super obviously wrong. This takes time, but artificial intelligence can just create tests like that, generate them, and make them interesting. You can set the difficulty level of these tests and so on. So in this regard, it's excellent. Automated assessment. For example, checking homework assignments. By the way, I'll say right off the bat that I don't check homework using artificial intelligence. When ChatGPT appeared, I was both scared and intrigued, and I checked homework with ChatGPT several times. I tried different approaches, screenshots showing the homework, its wording and answer, or asking something, and it did a decent job, but since our training is more boutique, I'd say, we don't have mass training where 1,000 employees are learning at once, and 1,000 employees aren't sending in the same homework. I check them manually, write comments myself, and so on, but often you need to check homework. When there are really a lot of them, they're similar, and generally, a detailed answer isn't required. This is where artificial intelligence excels. You don't even need to copy anything, just take a screenshot of the system where the homework is formulated on one side and the solution is on the other. You can create templates for how to analyze homework, answer templates, and so on. So in this regard, artificial intelligence does an excellent job. Now regarding the solution, we've looked at the possibilities, but you're probably interested in a specific solution, what's currently available in the field of training that can use artificial intelligence. And in this course, we'll be looking at different solutions in each session. Since today's session is more introductory, focusing on possibilities rather than practical applications, we'll look at the solution in a general sense, without practical application, more in an introductory format. And later in the course, our other sessions will be more applied and there we'll look at things more specifically. Okay, now let me share my screen so I can navigate through the links. For example, a system like Craig for training. By the way, they were one of the first to start integrating. It's at the top of my presentation because, well, it just so happened that they did it quite quickly. I believe this is a promotional video. You know what, So, with Exceller, we must radically improve human learning or face irrelevance. Curiously, we demand screens and speakers that are tuned to the biology of our eyes and ears, ensuring optimal absorption. Yet for learning our most important survival skill, we neglect such scientific approach, leaving much to chance. Left to fend for ourselves, we struggle alone to encode material in our brains. This arduous process is precisely when all the AIs and services abandon us, and Sarago steps in. Sarago's patented algorithms are tuned to our memory for optimal absorption. When we engage in learning, we often ignore human nature and the specifics of how the brain works. Yet there's a wealth of research on how our brain works and how we learn, and that's where the Krigo platform comes in. It uses artificial intelligence to integrate all knowledge about how people learn into the learning process. Time and enhances mastery. Proof: NYU's dental. National board exam failure rate dropped from 140 to just one student over 2 years. Meanwhile, study time was reduced by more than 80%. They say that when they integrated Krigo into dentist training, the number of failed exams over 2 years. Before the exam, the amount of training was reduced from 6 weeks to 1 week. Know how we showcase achievement? Watch as we transform any generative AI's output into visible personal knowledge. Pick a topic and sit back as Sarago generates engaging lessons enhanced with high intelligence. Well, for example, test development through queries. You create a query and it generates very interesting tests with well thought out, incorrect answers that don't give hints. You see that they're obviously wrong, but they make you think. They look correct if you know you'll choose the right answer. Adaptive algorithms rocket you through the material, displaying both the strength of every item you've learned and your progress compared to the group. Adaptive algorithm that also shows statistics on how well you're doing, which represents a quantum leap in human learning where anyone can master any topic by any deadline and display their achievements to the world. Owning the world's richest data set of human learning and forgetting, we've powered millions of learners from Japanese bullet train operators to US Air Force pilots. Sarago is growing with a broad base of American and international clients covering multiple industries. We're so interesting. By the way, we're not delving too deeply into this topic today to avoid going off on a tangent. But in AI-assisted learning, besides traditional learning, things like augmented reality or virtual reality are possible, where artificial intelligence can participate in learning, as well as the use of robots that can participate in training to practice various skills, which can also be an interesting solution. Well, this is one platform, Craigo. Next, it's about the features, what this platform can do. Course building using keywords, creating subtitles from videos, plus tests based on them, analyzing learnability, and so on. And this is the video we watched. This is the CG platform, which also integrates artificial intelligence into its system. They have a special section on their website called Artificial Intelligence. This is what it looks like. And I think there's a general page here somewhere, and then there's this page about the capabilities of artificial intelligence. Here's the video. Let's take a look. Smart search using artificial intelligence, meaning it doesn't just find materials, but tries to understand which answer option would suit you best. Analytics. This is their presentation video and a description about artificial intelligence, that is, their functions. And I think they even have a separate AI page, where the capabilities of artificial intelligence are described. If you want, you can translate it into the language you need. Where's that button? Well, never mind. What can you do here, for example? Content creation, content editing, which means rewriting, searching, and so on. Content recommendation. So little by little, they're integrating artificial intelligence capabilities. They even have a published public development plan where they describe what is being developed, what has been developed, course creation in minutes, and what else will be created. It's so interesting, you can even access the full roadmap to see what they plan to implement next. These guys are really interesting. The next platform is ProPro's Training Maker. Many of them, by the way, have free features. It's also a learning platform focused on artificial intelligence. Yes, this video shows how a training course is created, how lessons are developed, and so on. We'll take a closer look at this platform and try working with it during the course. They have a free option, so each of you will be able to test how it works. Another interesting one is Learning Studio, also for creating courses. Here, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, this is where I created courses for student demonstrations, and they should have been saved, so I'll try to show them to you now. Yes, I have a free account here, and I've created 3 out of 3. Now we'll take a look at my courses. Oh no, they're not showing my course. They've probably updated the platform. So skills, skill, or just conflict resolution? I'll just show you how artificial intelligence can work in learning. Well, yes, I've reached my limit. I've already created courses, I just don't understand why they're not displayed here. Something must have changed. Yes, which means I'll have to register a new account. I'm not going to do that now. We'll also be looking at it. We'll see how it works later in the course. Overall, it's an interesting platform. Another platform is mobile, and I think they've been bought out, by the way. They're called SC Training. They're cool because they allow you to create courses for viewing on mobile phones. We'll also be studying this platform in the course, so we won't focus too much on it right now. We're just getting familiar with the possibilities. The next platform is Paradise MS, which also integrates artificial intelligence. Now we'll look at the AI education page. In this video, we are going to look at how AI is transforming education across the globe. AI's content in the real world, just if anyone wants to see, you can create content using artificial intelligence. There are many features that they've already integrated here, and examples of how it can be. The same Zavi, which has now left and become part of Deal. Let me show you so you understand what it looks like. Deal is a platform like this. Unfortunately, they've done this. Unfortunately, for some reason, they've removed the beautiful demonstration of artificial intelligence that was in Zavi. So basically here they're saying they have DLAI, but when Zavi was a separate company, there were videos, examples, and so on. Now it's all hidden, meaning it's only available to clients. But I have screenshots, so I'll show you. For example, the Zavi platform, now this Deal platform, can create employee development plans. They can prepare career paths. That is, for any position, show how you can transition somewhere, create training materials. Personal trainers write in Slack. This is also a feature, and they had this video, which fortunately they haven't deleted, I'll show it to you now. It's been unpublished, but it's still available via a link. I'll show you how these guys managed to develop a lot of functionality in the field of AI-assisted learning in about 1 year. Welcome to the development. That was pretty fast, right? Well, that's what people development with Zavi is like. Meet Zavi, your new AI assistant. No other solution will allow you to launch effective people development that connects career frameworks, feedback, and growth at this speed. With Zavi AI, it takes 5 seconds to set up a career path. And setting up a tailor-made career framework is now just a matter of hours. It takes 11 clicks to run a state-of-the-art performance review, and just one extra to personalize feedback based on individual competency requirements. It takes 15 seconds to create a course and 25 minutes to create an entire library of 100 courses. And no worries, engagement is guaranteed with quizzes, images, and videos. It takes 0 clicks to launch personalized growth plans for your team. It just happens automatically. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Beyond that, you can onboard your new hires and empower your managers with one-on-ones. Run pulse surveys and more. That's quite an interesting demonstration of capabilities. There's an opportunity for international companies to translate training into other languages, which could be very relevant. For example, you have content in one language, let's say English, and you have employees in 5 or 10 countries. You need to localize that content into other languages. You can copy and translate videos, and even preserve the speaker's voice so that it sounds like the original. Sometimes it can be the other way around. You have content in video format and you need to turn it into text. You can do that too. There are many AI-based solutions that can convert video to text, and once you have the text, you can do whatever you want with it. You can also create video content from text. By the way, the woman you saw in the demonstration is an avatar that's narrating the text. It's not a real person, it's computer generated. You can do the same thing. For example, you can create videos for beginners from text, and again, in any language. Since these services support an average of 30 different languages, mostly the most popular ones, there's no problem. All these avatars look quite realistic. This is something you can do. Here's another example for creation, even for onboarding. So what else? These are all different solutions, different platforms. Many of them offer a free trial, so you can try them out for free. But if for some reason none of these services are available to you, or there's no budget and none planned, you can even use ChatGPT or similar tools. Now we have GPT-4. Now there's Claude and many other models. You can do a lot with these. So for those who don't have the ability to use any of these solutions, I've added here various examples of dialogues related to learning and development that you can use right now. You can create development plans, describe competencies, select books, choose educational films, come up with activities, and develop training structures. We'll talk more about how ChatGPT can be used, and not just ChatGPT but other solutions as well. Nevertheless, since today is an overview webinar, let these serve as examples for your use. The homework for those who are already learning with us is to test one of today's solutions, try to register, and see how it works. In our second session, we'll discuss how to create courses using artificial intelligence, what solutions are available, and we'll review, test, and explore what's already possible. That's all for now. Thank you to everyone who joined me online. I invite you to join this course. If you're not with us yet, consider joining. If you're already with us, we'll meet again in 1 week. Bye-bye, friends. See you soon.